Hey, how's everyone doing today? This might be my last recording that I do on a regular basis. That everything else might be live stream from now on, just because it's easier to set up and I can be more versatile through live streaming. I might still do topic videos, but they may no longer be on a weekly basis. And if I have something that's strong enough that I want to make a video production of, this would actually help save me money, as I would no longer have to be subscribed to Adobe and a few other subscription sites that are currently dubious on their relations with their customer when it comes to their earning model. Anyway, today we are going to be covering Kim Zember's focus speech for, I guess, 2024, for Seek 24. Let's see how she does. All right, here we go.
I know that the topic that I share on can be really uncomfortable for people. I have people come up to me and say, I want to go to your talk, but I don't want to be seen there. And so I get that. So I just applaud all of you for being here, for stepping through what might have been uncomfortable to even come in the doors. I've had people say, if I come to your talk, everybody's going to think I struggle with my sexuality. I'm like, okay, well, we all struggle with something, so it's okay. Like, we really need to, we need to make that clear to one another that no one is free from struggle. None of us. Father Josh nailed it, right, at his keynote, just saying we are all broken, which means we're all in need of a Savior. The beauty is we have a Savior just as broken as we are.
When it comes to her theology and eschatology and Christology, there is saying all three in a row, which seems necessary now at this point. Anyway, her understanding of Jesus is a little bit off there. Jesus is not just as broken as we are. Yes, he did take on all of our injuries, but part of the key point in the story, if you're looking at it through a literary lens, is that they did not break him. Taking on all of our suffering and more than all of our suffering did not break Jesus. They did not break his legs as they were supposed to. So by being unbroken, both in what we consider prophecy pointing toward Jesus, this is going to be in the Psalms, and by being unbroken in the actual story, in the gospel, it shows that Jesus is greater than our struggles and greater than any injury or death that we could put onto him. So that can lead into the Pauline understanding of superabundance, or it can lead into the Protestant understanding of imputed righteousness, which I'm not a fan of, that understanding. And even if you go into heretical systems, part of the point is that Jesus is unbroken. So I disagree with her on that one statement there especially. But I'm a fan of Kim Zember, so any critique I level at her, take it with a grain of salt and a lot of love and a lot of hope.
Into wholeness. That needs to be our focus. That actually is humility. Recognizing, yes, Lord, I'm broken, but Jesus, you are greater. And your love for me is greater. So I just applaud you guys for coming in today. I said it myself that this is a topic, but we need to remember it's a lot more than a topic, y'all. This is something that a lot of us struggle with. Maybe not you in the seats, maybe some of you in the seats, but we sometimes can get so caught up in the agendas of what people are doing. We see the news, we see politics, but we lose the sight of people in the midst of that. And I want to just remind us, this is a real struggle for a lot of people. One of those people, myself included, okay? So I'm not coming here to just preach truth and then walk out of here with a mic drop. No, I want us to talk truth, and I want it to be so wrapped in the love of the Father that we can share it with anyone and everyone. But you guys, sometimes I think what we do is we've got the truth down, but we don't have the heart of the Father that speaks forth that truth. And so it might seem a little backward. Some of you might say, hey, I need you to get to the point. I came in, I have people I love that are in the LGBT community, and I don't know how to love them. I'm telling you, I am going to talk on the Father's heart, because if we don't carry the Father's heart, the words won't come out right. We can say the right thing and even have that thing be so dead true, but actually lose the person in front of us because we didn't carry God's heart for them.
And I know this is now me beating a dead horse, but that is the criticism I level at apologists like Trent Horn. There are people who do a really good job of reaching out to LGBTQ, whether it's the community, whether it's individuals. And you want to call it outreach, that's fine. But there are those who say the right things, but are unable to convey the love of their heart to the person because they're too busy judging the person. I think those people should shut up and not share their message because they don't have the message. They don't have the love. They have the work, but just as faith without works is dead, works without faith are also dead. So if you don't love the other person, if you can't act in love, you can't act in Christ in your correction or in your noting, then you shouldn't be sharing the message, because you're not sharing the message. You're giving a false message. You are being a false Christ. Sorry, Trent. On this subject, you should not speak on it anymore. You made it very clear that you're not speaking with love. So therefore, you should shut up when talking about LGBTQ, Catholics, and trying to reach out to non-Catholic LGBTQ. You should just stop. Anyway, yeah, Kim's 100% right here. And don't even bother with Matt Fradd on this issue or anyone else who's coming through with hate. Though, the guest he has on his show, such as the monks, priest from the Thomistic Institute and from Godsplaining, wherever they're doing, they speak very well on these kind of issues, and they do so well. Not all of them, but a good number of them do. So I would ask that just as we preach forgiveness, that you forgive us when we lack in charity and compassion and mercy. That is us not living up to the moniker of our denomination, which is Christianity. All Christians are supposed to live up to that call, and we don't. So forgive us for that.
But we also need to carry God's heart for ourselves. Sometimes we're so focused on giving God's heart to everybody, but the reality is we can't give what we first didn't receive. So we need to receive the Father's heart for us so that then we can go out into the world and give it out to those who don't yet know Him. And so I promise I will talk about same-sex attraction, because that's what you came in here for, but bear with me, because I think the foundation of anything that any of us struggle with is God's love for us. And so I need to start there. I would be doing a great disservice to what Jesus did on the cross if we didn't start there. I don't know who knows my story, my testimony, and it's one that continues to develop. It's not a one and done, and I'm not going to get into the details of it because I only have so much time. I will say is I've struggled all my life with wanting to be loved, with wanting to be seen, to be known, and to be chosen. And I went to money, I went to men, I went to women, I went to success, I went to titles, I went to ministries to find fulfillment in each one of those.
So I ran into this, the statement that she just gave. I ran into this a long time ago with someone I loved very deeply. She was an addict, and she was trying to run from the pain. And what was interesting is that wherever I go, I would be the center of attention, and I hated it. I hated it at that time. I could go into a random situation, and it would become about me, and it was nightmarish. Part of that was just my super ego expressing itself, and some of it was the fact that I was just an interesting guy. And I was about maybe 30 pounds lighter than I am now. And one time, me and this person, who you want to call her a fallen angel or a shooting star or any other expression you want to use, she just wanted to be seen. And I told her, in passing, it was something else that I was just like, I would just love to go a day and not be noticed. And she got so upset with me because she just wanted a day where she was noticed, where she was seen. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand it at all. And I did not express the compassion or empathy with her that I should have, because it was foreign to me. But there are lots of people who want to be seen. You know, I have this stupid YouTube channel that had a minimal amount of success maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I'm still doing it, and I'm enjoying it. And even though I show my face, the anonymity, the anonymous nature of my channel, the fact that I don't have a billion subscribers, the fact that I can say what I want and no one's watching is comforting to me. In my real life, I'm responsible for my dad. I'm responsible for the people that I work with. I move up quickly whenever I get a new job. And I was running from that in my last job, unfortunately. And my wife, like me, wants to stay anonymous in life. So she didn't want that either. So me and her kind of overindulged each other in our, let's call it undershooting. But that's not the case for most people. Most people don't want to underachieve. Most people want the fame. Most people want the money. Most people want the attention. And they want the affection that comes along with it, or the pseudo-affection that comes along with it. And that's something I didn't understand for a very long time. Okay, let's get back to it.
And I'm standing here today to tell you that none of them worked. Temporarily, some. But you guys, I tried to link everything to people and things, and I came up dry every time. I don't come here to spread hate. I come here to share. I was talking with someone yesterday. They're like, why do you do this? I said, because I have been given a pot of gold. I don't know how else to describe it, that is never ending, that is more than enough for me and to share with all. And I just want to share the goodness of God. I want to share that we can actually stop seeking in other people or in other things what we were built to receive from God himself. And if you could learn that now from all the ways that I have learned not to do it and not to fill, then I consider that job partway well done. I struggled since I was young with attractions to the same sex. I battled through it. I acted on it when I was in high school, and everything shifted for me, and then it led me into, or I led myself into with the decisions I was making, a lifestyle of homosexuality. I lived out and open. I had some priest tell me that it was okay, that God made me this way, and I just need to learn to love myself, and I tried that route for a long time. And I came up empty again. I went the route of just being open and out, no longer hiding, no longer cheating and doing all the things I was doing, thinking that if I could just be honest about what I really feel, then I'll find that peace and that happiness and that fulfillment I was seeking. And I still came up dry. I lived in the lifestyle for over 10 years, part of that hidden, most of it out. And I lived it apart from peace. I grew up in the church, y'all. I grew up going 3rd grade through 8th grade, private Catholic school, a family who loves the Lord. But guess what? God has children, not grandchildren.
I want to speak just a little bit on that, not too much, because my story is very different and my friends' stories are very different. And I understand that me and my friends are weird compared to other people, so I'm not trying to relate to the everyday Christian in the pew right now. I'm talking to the outcast, to the outsider, to the rejected. Me too, man. Me too. My fellow sinners. I didn't walk away unknowingly. I didn't walk away unknowingly. I left the church willingly and angrily. I saw the racism, the hypocrisy, the way that people were treated who were different, and I hated these people. I was friends with the girls who would yell at the street preachers, who would say blasphemous things when when passing a church, who would do terrible things. And these were my friends. And the people who would say the GD words when someone would sneeze, or would purposely desecrate the Bible, or turn it into art, or turn a cross into art. Those were my friends. Watch out for strangers. So we are the strange people. Those were my friends. The craft wasn't just just a movie for me. It was who I hung out with. I hung out with people who live the Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands aesthetic. And they practice Wicca, and they practice, while at the same time saying that there was, being atheistic and saying that there was no God, they would also practice, neo and paganism, because they were just angry. They were angry at God, and they were angry at themselves, and they didn't like the patriarchal world that we lived in. And rules didn't mean anything, laws didn't mean anything, other people didn't mean anything. Compassion was not part of our conversation or part of our focus. Very self-interested, very hedonistic. And I was friends with those people from the age of 13 until the age of 25. And I love those people. They were my friends. They weren't kind of sort of my friends. They weren't people who I was hanging out with. They were my chosen family, and I was their chosen family. And that didn't work. So while I appreciate that Kim Zember struggled to be Catholic, for a bunch of cradle Catholics, that's not the case. When we're rejecting Catholicism or rejecting God, it's more personal than that. It's rebellion not just against the parents, but against the system itself that has us oppressed, that tells us we have to go to college, that we have to be a janitor or be we're oppressed people down here, that we have to be a waitress, and we say, no, we don't want that. We don't want that life. And, maybe part of it is that we're spoiled, and part of it is that we're ungrateful. Sure. But we were young. And I think, Kim Zember is amazing. She's not speaking to those who are outcast by their own choice. And she's more talking to those who are a victim of their circumstance. Their attraction their inclinations are greater than themselves. And that's great. I'm happy she's speaking for these people and to these people. But I'm not. I'm speaking to the rebel. I'm speaking to the outcast. I'm speaking to the outsider. And I'm saying, come in, you too are welcome. And maybe other Catholics don't want to hear that, but it's true, they are. The church reaches out to everyone. even the rebel.
He has children, not grandchildren. That means that your parents may have a great and beautiful faith, and amen to that, but it has to become personal for each one of us. We become sons and daughters. And so I grew up more as a grandchild of God, per se. I tried to live off the fumes of my parents' faith, and that does not last, especially in a very busy world that's trying to snatch each one of us up.
And again, living in a Catholic community, living in a Catholic society, Latin American, Mexican society, the rejection was different because it was Catholicism and Christianity that oppressed my people, that killed off my ancestors, that enslaved them, that stole their land. So no, it's very different in a mestizo household. It just is. And when I went to college, I found that out very heavy when I was reading Casas de la Vaca. And I was doing it for fun. And I enter a Hispanic philosophy class. I think I still have that book. Badam. I get into this class, and it's actually being taught by the person who wrote this book, by the way. It's being taught by Susan Nucitelli. And yeah, it's everyone there hated Catholics. I mean, hated. Recently, actually, with a movie project I was involved in, one of the actors was from one of these type of educations, and he's still, even in his 40s, he's still angry at the Catholic Church for what it did to our ancestors. It's a very different thing than being a white woman coming from a loving household with all the success in the world promised to you and turning away. It's a different thing when your friends are migrant workers and immigrants, when your friends who are LGBTQ and all of that are being persecuted, that literally spit on, literally rocks thrown at you just for being different. It's a different situation. So I'm glad she had her situation because, yeah, it gets bad. And I think as a foster mother who lives in Africa, I think she understands that probably better than most. So I think that's her story. I can't remember quite exactly anymore, but if I'm not mistaken, that's her story. That's where she ended up. So she's an awesome person. I'm just a douchebag, speaking from a very nice house in a nice neighborhood.
And so I just want to say this, you guys. I think it's sometimes hard because, I'm so blessed to be able to share my testimony. And it's cool when, you're maybe in a group of people who agree with you, but I share in a lot of places where people don't agree. They don't agree with me. And I get asked the question a lot. And if you were here last year, I touched on this a little bit, but I want to unpack it in a different way. The beauty of the teachings of our church coupled with the beauty of sacred scripture. And how those two don't stand alone. They actually are woven together and they're necessary with each other, just like truth and love. And so in that, I get asked a lot, hey, why does the church hate gay people? Why does the Catholic Church, why are they so anti people who are just born that way? Why is the church against?
I'm being 100% real. I did not pre-watch this, so my little setup that I just had right now, I did not know she was going directly into what I was just talking about. I want to be very clear. There's no pre-watch happening here. Okay.
The way that I want to live, I'm not hurting anybody. Y'all, I've said that out of my own mouth when I was in the lifestyle. I asked those same questions, but I think sometimes we try to answer questions for the church instead of letting the church answer the question, right? And so you don't have to write down all the notes of this. Even if you heard it last year, I want you to hear it again. And we just ask, Holy Spirit, give us fresh anointing on the words, the beauty of your church, the beauty of your teachings within the church, the beauty of sacred scripture. Let us hear it afresh. Do not let us tune out, Lord, to things that we grew up hearing or scriptures we've heard. Just a fresh anointing upon your words today in Jesus' name. So Catechism of the Catholic Church 2358. It says the number of men and women who have deep-seated homosexual tendencies is not negligible. Not negligible means not to be ignored. So right there, as someone who still struggles, I don't live the lifestyle I used to. I have found greater depths of healing and deliverance and fulfillment, but I still sometimes struggle. So I'm speaking these words, I'm reading these to you as someone who still has tendencies, okay? And I'm telling you right here, the fact that the church says they recognize it and they know that it's a deep-seated and not just, hey, they probably just struggle, it's just something they need to get over. No, they're saying it's deep-seated and it's not to be ignored. I don't find that hateful. Doesn't mean I love it, but I don't see hate in that. Second sentence, this inclination, which is objectively disordered, constitutes for most of them a trial. It doesn't say this person is disordered. It says this inclination is disordered. Y'all, words are important. If I say I love you or I hate you, one word changed, but the whole meaning was different, right?
This is something I think Matt Fratt struggles on, and he gets wrong a lot. I don't know if he's had Kim on his show. I think he has. I think he should have her back on. Trent Horn struggles with this a lot. I wouldn't even try to speak on Tyler Marshall or Holdsworth. I'm not sure how Reason in Theology, how Michael Lofton, I'm just going to call him Reason in Theology from now on, how Art handles these issues. Sometimes he's really good, sometimes he's not. I think some of that inconsistency is audience capture and him trying to cultivate an audience. You can see this a lot with his the way that he handles the situation with Pope Francis. He tends to inflame more than inform, if you know what I mean, when it comes to protecting the papal office, which, I mean, it's a style. And it gets clicks. What I do doesn't get clicks. So, all right, I'm getting off topic. Let's keep going.
It says this inclination. I want to know right now, and I asked this last year, and I ask it a lot of times, and I think we need to ask ourselves this every day, honestly, is what's your disordered desire? What's your disordered inclination? And some of you might be like, oh, I actually don't have one. I don't have same-sex attraction.
So I'll speak on this openly. I come from the kink community. You leave the church at 13, you get involved with goth girls and bad girls by the age of 17. There's this direct route right into fet life. So yeah, I mean, I was in polyamorous relationships from 18 to 30, give or take. Give or take a few years there where I tried monogamy out here and there. Let's see. I dated someone who was in porn, and I've had long-term committed friendships, situationships with people who are professional dancers, exotic dancers, especially in my early 20s. The older I got, the more I learned how to identify the red flags before I started dating them. But at one point, the situation was such that even when I would meet somebody at the mall or at the grocery store, as soon as I knew that they were attracted to me, I could pretty much guess that they were going to say they were an exotic dancer. And sure enough, I would get their number, and then we started flirting and ask what they do. And they're like, oh, I dance over here. And I'm like, of course you do. And that's just who I was attracting, and that's who I was attracted to. And once I got married, it did become an issue. I'm not going to say it didn't. My wife was not happy with my dating history at all. Luckily, I was in stable relationships, so the body count, as the kids say, which I'm hoping that sentence is no longer relevant. I hope that made me sound old. But my body count was luckily not high. I was in stable relationships for many, many years with these people. So it was the same people that I was dating. It wasn't a bunch of different people. So at least there was that. And that in the renegotiation of my marriage after we've been married for a year, and we really had to talk about our previous history. We had to talk before we got married, obviously. And we had to talk, I don't know, maybe like 3 days before our actual wedding. And so we had to talk before we got serious into dating. We had to talk 3 days before the marriage, and then we had to talk a year into the marriage. And the year into the marriage is where it got very emotional and very and I felt shame about some of my choices from my 20s and 30s for the first time in my life when I saw how it affected my wife. So that's something to think about. But like I said, luckily for me, they were mostly committed relationships. Most of the people who I dated, I'm still friends with, and my wife loves very much, and she cares for them very much. So I'm very lucky. But that didn't have to be the case, and my wife didn't have to be as cool as she was. And it looks like I have a 4-finger mohawk, so I'm going to press forward.
Okay, but there's a lot of disordered desires, y'all. And the reality is, every single one of us has one.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Just because I'm in a stable marriage, me and my wife are still having issues, especially because of immigration and a few other broader political things. And I still have temptation, and I still have inclination. I do. I'm still friends with people who are in the business, and I've seen the results of men who stayed in for too long. They look terrible. They're missing teeth. They're bloated. All their money goes to adventure. if you ever watch, there's this great movie, I think it's with Johnny Depp actually, where he starts off as this really handsome dude, but then through his partying, by the end of the movie, he has syphilis and all this other stuff, and his body parts are falling off. I think it's with Johnny Depp. It's a really good movie, and it's just about the destruction of a person's life through overindulgence and hedonism. And even at the end, he won't repent. He's just completely set in his hedonistic ways. It's a good movie. And like I said, I think it's with Johnny Depp. I'm not sure. But even the women who stay in the lifestyle for a long time, they don't stay looking youthful and healthy and rebellious. It starts to look pathetic when you're selling your TV for an extra $10 to go party, or for an extra $20 to go party, and you're in your 40s or 30s. It's not an attractive sight. It's just not. But I still have alcohol in my bar. I still have phone numbers in my phone that I've never deleted. I should. I haven't. I still am friends with people online who their interest in me is not an intellectual one, but a sexual one. And I'm not sexy in any kind of way. And there's still people who think of me as that way, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliment. But it is a temptation, and it is an inclination, and that doesn't just go away just because you find Jesus or because you get married or because you return to the church. Those attractions are still there. Those desires are still there. They're not as powerful. They're not as impactful, thank God. But you still miss the old days. You still miss the old days. Your grandpa or grandma, she still misses going out and partying. She still misses getting high. She still misses getting in trouble and running from the cops. She just knows better. But that doesn't mean she doesn't miss those adventures or misadventures. And that's something that I think needs to be talked about more as well.
If we didn't, we wouldn't need a savior to bring right order into our disorder, right? So if you're actually sitting there being like, yeah, I just don't have a disordered desire, what I actually hear is you don't need a savior. I'm actually genuinely more concerned for you than me. So I just hope. And you know what? There's a name for that. It's called pride, self-righteousness. We know how Jesus, right, dealt with the pride, the self-righteous, right? That we're so much better than everyone else. Guess what? When I was sharing in a university and I was talking on this, I had people within the LGBT community that were there that wanted to probably beat me up, but they decided to just wait and listen to see if they wanted to beat me up after, and I was fine with that. But I will say this, do you know a girl in the front row started crying? She told me after, she said, right then and there, I wanted to keep listening, because you just even the playing field that I'm not the worst sinner in the dang room. I have avoided church, I've avoided God, because I've always felt like the leper. Now, what I didn't say was, hey, you're just good, you don't need Jesus. No, I said we all need Jesus, join the club. This is where I need him, where do you need him? That right there already locked her in to listen to more. We all have disordered desires. I could give a whole talk on that. We're not going to because I don't have time. It says right here, so this inclination, which is objectively disorders, constitutes for most of them a trial. The church is recognizing it's going to be difficult. It says they must be accepted with respect, compassion, and sensitivity. Now, they doesn't mean the inclinations. They means the person. The person. It doesn't say should be if you have time for it or you feel like it. Says the person must be. They must be accepted with respect, compassion, and sensitivity. Y'all, I don't care what any one of us struggle with. You are made in the likeness and image of God. Whether you believe it or not, God is your creator. And he created you with dignity. And whether we agree or disagree, you are supposed to be treated with dignity, with respect, with kindness and compassion, whether or not I agree with your beliefs or your lifestyles or your choices. That doesn't mean I have to respect and agree with and celebrate every choice you make, right? The church is clear on that. It says that every sign of unjust discrimination in their regard should be avoided. I don't think I need to unpack that. Every sign of unjust discrimination must be avoided. These persons are called to fulfill God's will in their lives. And if they are Christian, to unite to the sacrifice of the Lord's cross, the difficulties they encounter. So for someone who struggles, that is not hateful. It's hard, it's challenging, but it's real. I'm a human being and I have disordered desires. Welcome to reality. And I have a Savior. Better and bigger reality than that is I have a Savior that died on the cross so that I didn't have to work it out and figure it out and sweat it out. I had to actually just hand it to him. And not just hand it to him, but hand my very self to him. Because guess what? He doesn't just want your sexuality. He doesn't just want the addictions that you struggle with. He wants your entire being. He wants your thought life. He wants your heart. He wants the time he's given you because he put your very breath in your lungs. And he wants every breath he gives us to be a breath of praise and glory back to him. And it's not like we're going to get in trouble if we don't. Yes, will there be consequences? But the biggest thing is he's not a cop. He's a father. He's not just taking a checklist of all the things you're doing and not doing and seeing how much he's going to love you or not love you based on your good works or your not good works. When we really understand that, we need to understand the character and nature of God. If we're trying to figure out who we are apart from God, you'll never figure it out. Because we were created in his likeness and in his image. So if you're created and I'm created and all of us are created in his likeness.
So I have to say that there is something else there, which is, it seems like she had a very loving and caring family. I had a disordered relationship with my dad. My dad was an alcoholic, to put it bluntly. And I'm not confessing his sins. His sins are between him and God. But he was an alcoholic. And I was a latchkey kid. If you don't know what that is, basically from the age of 6 to the age of 15, I was on my own. I walked home from school. I walked to school. When we would have parent-teacher conferences, I was the parent. I would have to go in and sign my own paperwork. I made my own food. Yes, my father was around. Yes, I lived in his house, but my father's support was financial. And there's a lot of people who are like this. Even today, if it's a single parent home and the father or the mother has a job like a doctor, a nurse, a car salesperson, anything that keeps you away from home more than 8 hours a day, you probably are a latchkey kid. You probably are completely on your own, unsupervised. And nowadays people take that more seriously. Cops get called and stuff. When I was a kid, if you were a latchkey kid, that's just who you are. And I had a very good friend who I loved very much, and she was also a latchkey kid, and me and her had plenty of misadventures thanks to that commonality. So, it's hard to see God as a father when your father is so flawed. When you're the one cleaning up after your parents, when you're the one reminding them to call the person of interest and tell them whatever it is they have to say, whether it's to save their romantic relationship or save their personal relationship or professional relationship, and you're the one doing all these things. When you're the parent, it doesn't feel good, and it's hard to see God as a father when your parent is so flawed, whether it's your mother or your father or both. And there's a lot of that happening today. Think about OF. A lot of these OF stars have kids, and their kids are judging them. Their kids are trying to understand reality. Think about what happened to Rakita. His kids are going to be scarred with this situation for the rest of their lives. So this is it's not a simple proposition which she's offering here. So again, much more respect to Kim Zember for saying all this.
Likeness and image, we better get to know him so we can know ourselves. See, my life was filled with trying to figure out who I was apart from him. But the reality was I didn't know the foundation of God. I didn't know that he loved me no matter what I did. I was always, my whole life, trying to earn God's love. And then guess what? When I just got about a hand on it and I felt like I was just beginning to be good enough to be loved, I had to do everything I could to try to hold on to it. Because the moment I messed up, I felt like I lost love. And that is not the gospel. It's not the gospel. That doesn't mean that God loves everything I do and that he celebrates everything I did, but he never stopped loving me. So we need to get back. That's the beauty of the church's teaching. My question is, okay, church, how do we live it out? That's really cool, but somebody who's struggling in the lifestyle or struggling with whatever, I'm not going to just read them this. But in that, you guys, I'm not just going to read a text to someone and be like, see, you're all good.
And I had the long hair, and I had blue hair, and I had piercings, and I thought any of that made me unique and just makes you like everybody else who's rebelling. And I do think there needs to be more outreach to the rebel, because a lot of the pastors that you love were rebels. That's what they were, and then they conformed. My conforming took me longer. I was in my 30s before I started to conform. And even now, for those of you who love my channel and watch it all the time, know that I still have a hard time towing the line. That's not who I am. I tell the truth, whether people like it or not. And that's a hard person to be all the time. It is. There are times you, especially if you get older, there are times that you don't want to be that person, that you don't want to have that struggle or that fight. And like I said, some of us don't want loving acceptance. Some of us like individualism and like to give everyone the finger and like to walk off.
Thank you. So I'm not just going to read a text. What I need to do is now we incorporate sacred scripture, right? One text. Now, again, we want to be careful to isolate text, but this is the heartbeat of scripture. It really is. I want you to hear this. I think it's Luke 25. And I know you guys have probably already heard about this one. It's about the prodigal son.
Okay, you know what? We're going to skip the prodigal son part, and we're going to go into this part over here. And then after that, we'll go ahead and call it good. This is a great speaker, and she has a great heart. I recommend you listen to her. Now, I'm going to say something slightly controversial that might sound mean. She's going to fall again. She's going to make a mistake. She just is. She's going to give into temptation. As long as she's going to live, she's going to mess up. And don't judge her on that. That's not you to judge. That's for God to judge. Don't hold her to an impossible standard. Let her life be witness to her faith.
Love is not love. That's not even a thing. That's so stupid. It is so stupid. Cat is cat. Dog is dog. That makes no sense. God is love. Can we learn who he is, not just in our minds, but experiential knowledge? I literally, like, mic drop from the bishop today at Mass, if anybody went. It was unbelievable. I was weeping. I was undone. He was talking about the love of the Father. Let me tell you, when you get so caught up in the love of God, you will walk out as burning flames of love for him. And that is what people are attracted to. They will listen. And someone said it, I think, the night before, and I've said it before as well. People usually don't care what you know till they know that you care. So many of us are bringing out, and you know how many people have rejected God's words because they never caught his heart for them. They've never caught that he is actually radically in love with them. They think that he just wants to change them all. And guess what?
It's interesting. Listen to the people. How many of them are angry about the judgment they don't even believe is coming? How much they believe that Christianity justifies hate, and they know nothing about the actual religion, but they do know that there are hateful Christians in the world, and that's what they think all Christianity is. And they think that all the prescriptions of the Bible are prescriptions of hate, and that's a hard thing to get them to understand, that it's not, that it's love. And I think that's where people like Tyler Marshall and James White, I think that's where they falter the most, is their anger gets in the way of the message of love and forgiveness. Don't get me wrong, it's not unconditional. You got to change, but they can't acknowledge that because of their theological presuppositions. But yeah, it's not unconditional. It's conditional, and that's fine.
His love transforms. His love has, and I pray to God, continues to transform my life. I am not dating women anymore, and that's not just because I'm afraid of hell. Hell is very real. Anybody who says it isn't, read the scriptures on that. The reality is, I am not with women and not in a life of sin because I'm afraid of hell, because of fear. Fear had such a grip on my life, y'all. It kept me in bondage. I would have never, ever thought it was fear.
I'll say this. Right now I'm speaking to the men and to the ladies who like ladies. People have asked, given that I'm not the most attractive person in the world, when they see a very attractive woman interested in me, why I haven't cheated on my wife in the last 6 years. Now going on 7 years. Why I haven't cheated on her. And I'm like, is it because you're scared of divorce or because you're scared of the consequences? And I tell them no. I said, because I'm Catholic. I'm like, yeah, but your wife's an atheist. And I go, yeah, and I get it. I get it. Believe me. But because of my faith, I will not break that faith with my wife. Right now, me and her are going through a very hard time because of my dad's dementia. We're currently separated because of my dad's situation. She wants me to sell my home, and she wants me to put my dad in a nursing home, and she wants me to move to China. We tried living here. We were doing well, but as my dad got sicker, that's something that she was not able to handle. And I told her I can't abandon my father. Just like I can't abandon you. When you do something stupid or things go bad for you, I can't abandon him. And she doesn't believe in forgiveness or mercy in the way that I do. So there's a miscommunication happening between us on the subject of caring. And she doesn't understand how I can forgive my father, given what I shared earlier in this video. She doesn't understand how I can forgive him. She can't forgive hers for a similar circumstance. And that's hard for people to understand. I've forgiven all of my enemies. I've forgiven everyone for everything. And I've even gone out of my way to help my enemies when they're struggling or they're hurt. But I also go out of my way to help my friends and my family when they're struggling and when they're hurt. And that's not an easy thing to do. Forgiveness is not easy. Mercy is not easy. Compassion is not easy. And being kind to someone who you hate or someone who's wronged you is even harder. Because in the moment you think of revenge. You do. You think about justice. But God doesn't call you to be just. He calls you to be merciful. Let that sink in. He's not calling you to be just. He's not calling you to vengeance or to make the scales balanced. That's a different religion. That's actually Egyptian. That's actually worshiping of Anubis. That's not worshiping God, the one true God. God's forgiving us for all that we've done. So think about that.
1 John 4:18, perfect love casts out fear. For the man who still fears is not yet perfected in love. Perfect love. Not your neighbor's love, not your mom's love, not your dad's, a perfect love. There is one person that is perfect love, and that is Jesus Christ, the full revelation of the Father. The God-man, Jesus Christ, is perfect love. That's why I don't like the bumper sticker, love is love, because it doesn't lead anyone to anyone. It leads love back to love, which is just a draining circle. When we say God is love, it leads people back to the very thing that we're born for. Father Mike says that you were born for love, by love, and you were created for love and by love, back to love. You guys, God is love. He loves you with such a radical love that it says, while you were still sinners, while I was still a sinner, he died for you. Not when you figured it out. Not when you decided, I'm just going to do everything right. No, while we were still sinners, he died for us. This is the love we're created for. And every other love that we're seeking is sometimes a slight reflection of that love. But the slight reflections don't hold us together. They don't last long enough. We were created for the real deal, the full submersion of the love of God. And when you have that, now when I meet someone and I connect with someone, they're just a reflection of that love that I've already received. They don't become my source because they can't. Not because they're not allowed to, but because they're not actually even capable of it, because it says perfect love. We are created for community. We're created for church together. We're created for all of that. But we were created to return to our first love. The first love is not your second grade person you're thinking about right now. Don't call them, okay? Just don't. I believe this Seek Conference, I truly believe it with all my heart, that this Seek Conference is about all of us, myself included, returning to our first love. But see, it says in the scriptures that my people perish for a lack of knowledge. How many of us know that our first love is God? That right now,
I'm going to leave it there. I know there's some problems there with Islamic understanding of how faith works. So we're not getting into reverting a revert. We're not going to get into that concept. I think we're going to keep it here. Thank you all. Like I said, this is probably going to be my last regular video for my Sunday specials, for my Sunday topic videos. I know I've been doing it for 7 years now. It hasn't helped my channel grow. So I think I'm going to drop it soon. I still got a few videos to do about Catholicism and a few other topic videos to do, but I'm going to just put them out when I want to put them out. And once I get done with my topic videos, I will only do them when I have something to say. And we are going to move into a more streaming channel. I do have other streaming stuff like video games and comic books that I do stream, and weightlifting that I do stream, but I think I'm going to keep concentrating on what I'm doing here. I really like how the channel is growing. I'm going to keep this channel active, but I think I'm going to move more towards streaming, and I'm going to save myself some money by not having to do as much editing. And there's still some editing software that I have that I can get for free, but at least for the meantime, a step away from a lot of the Adobe stuff that I've been using, again, because I just can't afford it. And their terms of service changed, so, I don't really like the changes they made. Anyway, just remember that God loves you, and to forgive everyone, including yourself, because God forgave you. So forgive them. Whatever the worst thing is you've done, God already forgave you. Now he's asking you to change your ways. And whoever you forgive, you can ask them to change your ways. And forgiveness doesn't mean keep them in your life if they're destructive. But you can forgive them and say, hey, if you want in my life, you want to be part of my life, you can't do this thing anymore. You can't come home drunk. You can't spend your last $20 on whatever feel-good chemical you like. If you're going to be part of my life, you can't do that anymore. If you're going to be part of my life, you can't insult me in this way, or you can't assume that I'm going to be there for you in this way anymore. You're going to just have to deal with me as a human being. And if you can't do that, I still forgive you, but you need to get out of my life. That's fine. But forgive and move on. It's the only way to live. Have a great one. Please like, please subscribe, support my Patreon, whatever you want to do. I love you all.